Time for another model. So after having built a motorcycle last that had 140 some odd pieces, very finicky, intricate, and stuff like that, I needed to go something fun this time around, and I ended up choosing this kit from my stash. Now, some of you remember, or if you look at my videos, you'll see that I built the torque trike sometime in the last year or so, and I had a lot of fun with that. It gave me a bunch of issues. There were, some self-imposed errors that I'd made or goofs. But in the end, it looked really, really nice, and I was really happy with it. And I picked that up at a model show. That's an annual event in Kingston, a few hours drive from here. And then again, I went back to that show this year, actually looking for another one from that series. But for whatever reasons, although there are a few sellers, were selling them secondhand, or he's still wrapped and everything, the prices seem to have doubled. They just skyrocketed for whatever reason. So I didn't pick up any one of those. But I saw this one over here, and it was reasonably priced, and it's an open box, but I checked and everything seems to be in there, and it's looks like a fun kit. This Royal Rail. I don't know if it's an allusion to a Royal Mail and stuff like that. I don't think that's a Royal Mail vehicle from across the pond, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. What do I know? I'm Canadian. So let's take a quick look at it. You can see it's a very goofy kit. It is a trike again, and it's got this huge crown, which looked fun, and it didn't look too complicated. And sure enough, when I took a look at the instructions, it's almost as simple as can be. I got a few parts here for the motor. Hardly anything really when you're putting the chassis together, and then this big crown piece that goes on top, and this is the base for the crown with a cheap seat and stuff like that. So I thought I could have a lot of fun with this kit. So it comes with one of those build it yourself mini boxes, so you can have a replica of the box itself. Most of the stuff is still in bags. As a matter of fact, they were in bags when I got it. You got the two big huge tires, and I don't know, smaller ones for the front. Like the torque trike, there's actually three, clear pieces where you get to choose the color. Now, what's nice about this is you can see over here this, dark purple bluish tinge, and I think I'm going with that as a color scheme. I haven't decided quite yet, but trying to make it like the crown, purple, like a royal crown. Maybe we'll have a royal crown as we're building this, and hopefully not in trouble that way. But you can see that the parts are all in the bags, giant. They look nice. They look clean. We'll see when we get there. Actually, that looks really, really clean with all the edges over here like a giant knob. And again, this is the other part of the crown over here. And again, it looks really, really nice. It looks simple. Looks like a lot of fun. And here are the decals. And I just opened this up a few minutes ago. So just want to show you that there's a lot of fine detail in some of these decals, so that you can use it to accentuate whatever color scheme you do. And very nice detail here, and you got lots of choices, if you want to put the name itself on it. And again, you have so many choices, it's basically hard to decide what you want. But they all look nice, they all look clean, and hopefully I won't have any issues. Like I said, the biggest part now is what I have to do is take a good look at the model and see exactly what I want to do in terms of color scheme. But I'm thinking, the royal blue, purple, whatever you want to call it, like a Crown Royal. So let's get on. Okay, I've made some progress on the Royal Rail over here. As you can see, I've primed all the parts, or most of them. I forgot one over here. But I'll spend a lot of time actually sanding things down, especially here the crown, because there's a big seam line that goes back down the middle here, and I really hate it. You can still see it a little bit over here. And anyhow, I tried my best to get rid of that seam lines, because I hate seam lines, and this will be like the focus of attention anyhow. So I did that to a lot of parts over here. I did my best, and we're pretty much done with that. Now the next thing comes to choosing colors, and I mentioned I want to have a royal crown, using royal blue for crown royal look and feel. And I was thinking of going some of these paints over here, which I've actually never used. They're all recent acquisitions, but they weren't really royal blue. So, I broke down and bought, the Tamiya royal blue over here. And just, I mean, I don't know if it shows in the camera here, but it really does make a difference. It looks royal blue. So I'll be using that. Now, the next thing I want to do with the royal or crown royal look would have been royal blue and gold. But I've been thinking a lot about this is, do I paint all of these with the Tamiya Clear, which I've mentioned before in the past? It really does give it a gold look. Is it better to have royal blue and gold, or actually, silver or metallic, the chrome? And I'm still really debating on that. At one point I was leaning towards the gold. Now I'm kind of leaning towards the actual chrome. But that remains to be seen which one I'll actually use. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the blues and then look at it side by side and see what I want to do there. And the only other thing I've done is, and as I've actually spent a lot of time with this, probably too much time, is I bored out the heathers over here because they were just like a flat surface, and I really didn't like that at all. And because they're oval in shape and at an angle like that, what I ended up doing was basically taking the little hand drill and drilling a small fine hole like 1.2 millimeters that direction along the the edges over here, and then take a bigger one, a 2.2 like this over here, and then just going down the middle, and then I was able to bore them out nicely. And I was going to put black in there, and then I said, well, let me see if the old Molotov chrome pen, to see if I can actually put the chrome in there and see how that looks. I can always go back later and paint it black, but I'm kind of happy with the way they look right now, so I think I might keep that. Anyhow, some progress, but still a lot of work to be done. Okay, moving right along. I failed to mention the last segment that I did complete that little mini box that they have. So I have a replica of the actual, kit box. And now I can add it to my collection, which is, well, that's it. That's my collection. I've got two now. It's a start. Okay, getting back to the model itself, I ran into one issue, and that's actually with the tires over here. Now, these are actually 3 pieces to make a tire, the giant tire. What it is you put the 2 sides together, and then there's an inner piece that goes right in the middle of that, and that is kind of where they have the the decor, and this outer edge here is the chrome piece, and this is which goes to the tire holder. The problem with this is very, very rigid plastic. It's not quite styrene itself. It's got a little give, but very, very little. It's very solid, so it's not a rubber piece that's just gonna have these where you can push them in and stuff like that. And I found that there was really very they just don't fit, right? Like they're not even close. So you're gonna have to really bore it out, get the heavy tools, the heavy file, or even the Dremel, and start grinding away either the black rubber piece, or actually grinding away all these little pieces over here so that they really fit in. So you can see I've done one, but it took a lot of effort to get there, but at least we know we can get there. Now, what I've actually done, you can see here, is I really primed and painted all the pieces that require painting with that royal blue. It's a little darker than I thought, but I still like it, and I'm going to go with that. And started building the motor. And again, the question was, do I go with the gold look or not? The Crown Royal look, and or just go with the actual chrome. And I'm tending towards the chrome, really. It looks fine. And I'm not sure I'm going to gain much by painting everything with the clear yellow to make it look gold. So I think I'm just going to go with this. But there may be a few pieces here and there that I'm going to paint gold. Now, I did some of the trim already in gold, and the gas tank and stuff like that. And there's also, like, at the top of this, once it's a crown, there's a little cross, and I might do that in gold. But so far, most of it's going to be chrome as per the the kit itself. It tends to look nice, and I think I can get away with it. We're a decent kit just with the chrome. So we'll continue with that. All right, just a quick update over here. I just want to show a few things as I progress with the build over here. What I really want to show is this monster of a motor that's, just like a giant spider, really. And I want to show how it goes into the chassis like this, where you have to put this kind of angled bars over here on the side. You put the motor in first and you get that in there afterwards, and things like that. So it's coming along really nice. What's going to happen is this part of the chassis now is going to go right in there, and it's kind of like a peg for that, and that's going to go in there like that. So coming along nicely. As I mentioned before, I was going to go with the purplish windows over here, and the headlights too purple. And the only thing I'd try to do on the cross over here is to, you probably can't see it on the video, but I put little dabs of red, as because there's kind of like jewels in there. Very hard to see, and I'm gonna have some other colors. This is with red clear, and this is the I don't know if you want to call it a cockpit or seat and everything, and with a little gas tank there. There's a little gas tank cap afterwards, and I try to do some washes with some, this is like pink with some red washes, although the red just seems to fade out all the time, so I'm just going to keep it like that. There's little foot pedals in there you got to paint, but it's coming along nicely. Almost there. All right, we have our wheels on now and just a few more things to do, but there's a few things that we have to address. First of all, one unfortunate aspect of this design over here is, as you build a crown, is they have these joints right at the top on all these chrome parts, which is really unfortunate because it's very visible. I mean, the ball will go there later with the cross, but you'll still see it. And as I went through the reference pictures, I noticed that it is visible on just about everybody else's model like this. I mean, it would take a lot of work to basically sand everything down and then chrome everything. So what I thought I'd do, and I did see somebody else do this, is I ran over to the dollar store and I've got myself some bling over here, and I figure I could put these little jewels right at those cross points, and I got a choice if I want red. Probably go with the blue to again go with the rest of the motif. And I find the blues are still a little light, and so what I'll probably end up doing is putting a little Tamiya clear blue on top of them to make sure that they're darker. And as these are stickers, I'll be sure to file off and sand the back so that it really gets back down to the plastic and I can glue them on. So I'll probably be doing that. One other decision I have to do is to decide whether I want to put these little lights on, turn signals or whatever. I'm just not sure. I find it's a little bit much. A lot of people haven't used them, but I'll have to see once I have everything else together. I'll probably decide whether I go with that or not. The only other issue I have is the decals. Now, it's a funny thing. I only put 4 decals, and I opted for these ones that go right at the base of the crown. And in every case, well, 3 out of 4 anyhow, they all broke right over here. So luckily I was able to, take the broken piece and slide it into place over there so that you don't notice it. But I'll definitely have to put some another clear coat to basically secure that in place should it ever fall apart, like if that little piece in the corner dries off. So some future or something like that. Now, I had the chance to use like liquid decal film to make it, put them on top to make them more rigid and solid, but I didn't think I needed them because it's not that old a kit. So I've got these other ones that I was going to put on the body over here, just as Royal Rail, but if I do that, I'll be sure to use the liquid decal film beforehand to make sure that those don't fall apart on me as I put them on. And after that, we're pretty much at the end. All right, I'm calling this one done over here. Quite happy with it. Not perfect, but there's a few things I want to point out before we end the video. First of all, I did put those, dollar store gems, if you want to call it that, and I made them darker with the crystal, with the clear blue Tamiya clear. But one thing I want to mention though in gluing them is that they're kind of on a contour over there at the top. So when these things have flat bottoms, and originally what I wanted to do was just sand them down to have that concave bottom so that they would fit perfectly and I can glue them. But these things have little mirrored bottoms. I don't know if you can see that. So what I did is if I file that off, they're really not as shiny. So instead of gluing them, what I ended up doing is getting some of that microcrystal clear and use that as a glue, because this is quite thick afterwards, and it'll do the job, so it holds them in place. I decided not to go with the tail lights on the back here. Really didn't need them. And the other thing I want to mention is when you're building this, I don't know if you notice it, but that steering wheel is really close to the ends of the intake horns over there. So do yourself a favor, bend that, there's a little, it falls right into its hole. Bend that a little backwards so it'll give yourself a little more room when you're putting this together, and then there will be a little bit of a gap. See, I have hardly a gap there, and I notice a lot of people who have built the model also have that same issue where that steering wheel is right up against the horn. One last thing I want to mention is about that motor. So the motor is, quite a big motor, and when you look at the instructions, you'll see that it's really just, glued here at this one point, and then the rear is glued to the axle. So it's kind of like, in the air with just 2 points, the front and the back, holding it together. So one thing you might want to consider as you're building, and especially as you're building the frame, is to maybe build a little extra support in there that you can then paint as to paint the frame, so it's all the same color and it blends. I was thinking of going back and put some extra support, but I says, it's really too late to do that, so I'll keep that as is. So as you can see, it's a really nice model. It's quite, it's not complex to build, but because it's so awkward shaped and, you got these large awkward pieces, it can be a little finicky. So take your time and you should be okay. And that's pretty much it. That's another trike on the, off the checklist over here. So following this, I'll have some beauty shots, and then I want to say my next video might not be a build video. I'm thinking of doing it kind of an odds and ends video, but we'll see if I do that or I go right into my next build.